Everybody. Today's episode, we're going to discuss the Company Data tab. Not everybody has access to the Company Data tab, but maybe stick around and watch the video. You may learn some features behind the scenes that can be set up by your administrator. So the administrator is a person who has access to this and has the ability to change any of these features. Or you can contact us and we can help you get these set up. But on the Company Data tab, we also have the ability to set up user accounts and restrict certain areas of the system. I'll show you what all those different settings do, as well as some maintenance and one of our third-party applications, DDS vendor cross-reference, which gives us the ability to do some nifty things inside the quotation side. So let's head over to the Company Data tab and go over some of these behind-the-scene features built into TTS. Okay, so we will navigate to the Company Data tab, and we have four options: Company Data, User Accounts, Maintenance, and DDS Vendor Cross-Reference. Let's start with Company Data. Basically, what this allows us to do is set up different variables into different parts of the system. So for instance, quotation CRM vendors. When you want to add a vendor to the system, you would have to add it to this screen here for it to show up under quotations and CRM. So again, the administrator will have the ability to go into this screen and click on add. They also have the ability to change the name if it's spelled incorrectly or you need to change the name or remove it for that instance. List of topics for sales reports. So again, under CRM, you have the ability to add different topics. Common one that I always use is counter day. But you can add specific counter days for a specific vendor, for instance. So that is where these topics will be listed. Again, this is for CRM. Customer type. All our customers have types. Most of them are direct customers, but they could be architects, they could be contractors. So this is how they will show up on a list, for instance, inside of a quote. So if a customer is listed as a contractor and you need to see the contractor listed on a quote, this is where you would build that. So again, this is building the list that you would add to the customer file. Email lists. Again, under contacts, we have the ability to assign contacts to receive special emails. And this is where we would create those emails and assign all the different contacts to them. Divisions, territories, and customer groups are again a product of the customer section, which is under data files. So you can assign a customer to a specific division, to a specific territory and a specific group, and this is where those different names are built. Moving down, vendor groups. So vendor groups are a way to just group different vendors for reporting purposes. If you need to report on a commodity vendor group, for instance, or commodity vendors, you would assign vendors to the specific commodity group, and that will allow you to do reporting on just that specific group without having to select all the vendors that are commodity, for instance. Project types and project statuses. So again, under the project or opportunity tab in TTS, we can add different project types and project statuses, and we can customize these in this section over here. Quote type, the same thing. When you do a quote, you can assign a type of quote, which would be, again, for reporting purposes. So when you go to the quote report section, which we're going to do in another video, by the way, quotations is the last section that we're going to cover on TTS today. But you have the ability to generate a report based on a specific quote type. So if you have quote types like my TTS demos, all the quotes that I've labeled as TTS demo, I can run a report and just see those. Customer master groups. This is something that we've recently added. Again, this would be done under the customer section in the data files. What this allows you to do, different than customer groups, is we have the ability to set up a master group. So gray bar. So you would put all your gray bar customers in there, and then when you run a report, which is going to be shown on the sales analysis executive, just pull that down here. Under sales reports, we have an executive section. So under the executive section, when you have a master group of gray bar, it will give you a total of all the gray bar customers, as opposed to a customer group, which will give you a listing of all the gray bar customers and their totals. So this is a way to get just a sum total of all our particular group that's set up as a master. And then the last section down at the bottom, we have our vendor product groups, which can be assigned different names. So for instance, if I go down TTS today, I can have a YouTube video group and I can have a sample group. Again, this is for reporting purposes on quotations. So once you assign these in the quotation section, you will have the ability to have a drop down that will show you the vendor product groups. And again, for reporting purposes only. And then all the way down at the bottom, a lot of people ask this is we do have a disclaimer on quotations. This can be customized by you. We have a default set up here for AREP, for instance, but you can change the wording on this at any point, and this is done in this section on the company data tab. Moving along, we have the user accounts. So let's go into user accounts. Okay, so now on user accounts, we have a drop down on the left, and this will allow you to adjust the information on the user accounts. You cannot create user accounts. We control the users that are built into TTS. So if you need a new user added, you would just email anybody on our team and we could do that for you. But this, once you add that user, and by the way, I'm signed in as XRef, so let's go into XRef. That's me. So I can change all this information so the administrator has the ability to change this information in the system. Okay, spelling of names, company address, city, state. So all this information at the top. There's a couple of sections that are grayed out. When you get down to here, for instance, you have the platform name, which is the username. We assign that. It's all part of a specific group. You do have the ability to change the password. So if a person forgets their password, you can go in here and just type in a new password. And once you click save, they should be able to sign in again with that new password. And then this modules is just what the company is set up for within TTS altogether. So scrolling down a little bit, we have our email list for sales calls and schedule. So what this allows you to do is if you want to receive an email for every sales call, so sales calls will be under CRM, entering your name in this section here, anytime a sales call entry is added into the CRM side, you will get an email notifying you that there is a new entry under sales calls, as well as quotations by putting your email address in here. And you can add multiple email addresses, but just remember that by putting my name under the email list for quotations, every quotation I am going to get notified. So the principal of a company may want this, a manager, quotation manager may want this. They will be notified every time a quotation, no matter what the quotation team is set up as, they will get a notification that a quote has been added to the system. Once save is clicked on that quote, this email goes out automatically. Continuing down, internal quotations, email list by vendor. So what this is for internal notes, under quotation, we have the ability to add internal notes amongst the organization. So I can set up which internal notes I receive. So I only wanted to see it for TTS today and Steve's wire. You could have it none. These are not required at all. But again, if an internal note is added to any of Steve's wires, which is a customer or TTS today customer, I will get notified, meaning the user that is signed in for this. Now, continuing on, view only sales for vendors. So what this is, if I want to restrict the vendor that a particular salesperson or a particular user can see, I would just move this over. So I only want them to see AAA, then they will be able to only see sales for AAA vendor. Again, once I make these changes, you have to remember to click save to make sure that they are set in the system. So I'm going to move down here and we're going to go over the last section. And this is what most calls we get from people is the permissions. So going through this list again, not all administrators will have these positions. For instance, the top one, allow commissions to be viewed. We have the ability to be able to turn this off for everybody, meaning that they won't even be able to get into the sales analysis section. Not everybody needs to see commission data, so this is a yes or no. By changing this to no, once they click on sales analysis, what will happen is they'll get a pop-up saying you do not have uh, the permission to view this. Contact your administrator. Now, just a note about this allow commissions to be viewed. This can only be viewed by principals in the system. So that means if you're not set up as a principal or owner, and we have the ability to do that on our side, you will not even see this. So we don't give everybody access to be able to change yes or no, even administrators. So you may not see that in there. And if you do need to add people to a commission to be able to view commissions, you would have to contact us, and we'd have to, or contact the owner of the company and ask them, and they would contact us, and we can set that up for you. So if you don't see that, that's fine. You will see everything else. Commission salesperson, basically a commission salesperson. And if you watched my video on salesperson splits, which is down over here, they will show up in the list for salesperson splits. If they are listed as no, they won't be in that system. So if you need to set up salesperson splits, just make sure the user is a commission salesperson. View own sales only. This is probably the most common one that's set to yes or no. If this is set to yes, when you go to view reports, you do have the ability to look in the reports section, but you can only have it drop down with your commissions. So by saying yes, that means you can only see your commissions. By saying no, you can see all the salespeople that are in the system's commissions and run reports for them. So very important there. Data file commissions, we can give you the ability to edit customers or contacts. If these are set to no, you just can't go in. You can view them, but you cannot add or edit customers or contacts. And then last, default send to customer, default send file to vendor, default delete local files on sales. Under recent sales, if you watched that recent sales video, there is a section that when you click save, it will automatically send a confirmation. If you click save, it will automatically send a file to the vendor. And the last one is delete these files. So if these are set to no, you would have to manually check these boxes to do this information. So, and that's it. That is the user section under the company data tab. And that's how you change all those permissions. Next, let's go to maintenance. Maintenance is powerful. Got a lot of powerful tools in here. Very important to read these yellow highlights. So on the first one, merge data for duplicate customers. If you have a duplicate customer, instead of deleting one customer, you need to move it to another customer. You would get the customer number from the customer list under the data files tab. Okay, put that number in there. Correct customer and incorrect customer. Once you correct duplicates, it will merge the two. So what's happening is now all their sales data, for instance, will get merged together. So you're not removing that customer, you're just moving it into the correct customer. But as we say up here, it's highly recommended to download the customer file, which you can do under the customer file section within the data files. Next one, change status of quotes. You may have a lot of quotes out there, and instead of going through each one through the internal notes section, for instance, you would be able to change the status to closed. So you could pick a date, you could pick it by a manufacturer, by a customer, even by a value of the quote. That is change status of quotes. And the last one in here is your mass change of outside salespeople. This is used a lot too. So let's say a agent changed his location or who he calls on gets changed. You would put the current salesman, and then if you have, instead of going into each customer and adjusting who the salesperson is, we could do a bulk or mass change of all those salespeople. Also, if a salesperson leaves, retires, the last section is TTS vendor XRef to DDS. Basically, what this allows us to do is assign our third-party DDS provider to a specific vendor. So assign beer, for instance, to All Pro. And what will happen is when you get to your quotation and you need to create a submittal package and you chose beer as your vendor. And yes, beer is a vendor. We were given a demo. Someone wanted us to say, can you use beer? Sure can. So we put beer in there. And when I click on the DDS button or submittal package button, it will actually create a submittal sheet in a PDF format that shows you a spec sheet, for instance, with PDFs, with some technical information on the products if they're in there. So if you want more information on DDS, you just contact us at TTS and we will get you that information. So that's it. That's company data. Again, it's a maintenance screen that not everybody has, but hopefully you watch this video and you learned what it can do, and now that might help you to uh, get hold of your administrator and say, I need this information added to TTS so I can work more efficiently. So thanks again for watching. I hope you got a lot of value out of this video, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.